And then with Ryan Truex and his opportunity in mind, certainly you can relate, and you've been in those shoes. And not to say you're being intellectually dishonest in real time when we talk to you, but I'm curious to kind of get you away from that moment now to where you're not thinking about jumping in the 5 car and what that could mean. What is it really like in terms of balancing the expectation, the pressure, the opportunity, what it could mean for your career personally? What is that really like, and what is he going to experience this weekend?
Well, my situation is a little bit different. In every time I jumped in, it was to get Kyle ready, to get the car ready for Kyle, right? Be prepared for Kyle to get there. You set up for the weekend a lot differently. You're trying to set up a car how Kyle would want to drive it versus how I would want to drive it, right? And we spend a lot of time in the simulator and doing things. You know, I listen to Kyle a lot to understand what he likes in a car and the balance that he's looking for. So for me, it's a little bit different, but I look at Charlotte last year, right, filling in, and ended up running the whole race because of the rain, and it was a cool experience. It's kind of hard to put into words, right, because even when I raced in the Cup Series, those moments weren't as significant because you had the next one and you were just pushing to get through and kind of doing the same. I'm not going to call it a grind because it's not boring, right, but the same thing over and over again, right? You're looking at that next week. And I feel like with these scenarios, and I think about Ryan, I'm beyond pumped for Ryan, right? Like, the kid has put in a massive amount of work. He's ultra talented. And I think that for him, he's kind of been in a scenario where, I'm not going to call it luck because that's not the right word for it, but just like every time something good is coming his way, something kind of deters it, right? And doesn't allow him to really show what I think is his true potential. And so, you know, I'm excited to see him get the opportunity. And listen, there are a handful of cars in the Cup Series garage that if you could jump behind the wheel, you immediately go, man, this is an amazing opportunity, right? Pinch me because it's not real. The 5 car being one of those, and obviously for him, the 11 car, probably more pressure now that they just won last week too, right? That adds to it. But I think the hard part for a guy like Ryan is you're coming into this weekend, obviously a lot of stress, a lot of unknowns, right? No, the Cup Series has never been here. We don't know what to expect from the racetrack. We don't know how this race will play out. I don't know how good of a road racer Ryan is. I guess I probably should know. I feel like he's pretty decent, but you know, until he gets out there and experiences, you know, that experience, it will be a tough weekend. There's probably a little bit of heartburn on his side. You know, he's wanting to go out there and prove his value, right? But the thing that I love for him is from the time they walk in the door, you know, this morning to the time they leave on Monday morning, you know, that car is his, and he can go out and race it and push himself and push to the limit and you know, try to make the best opportunity for himself. And I wish there were opportunities for more drivers to have that feeling and that understanding of what the pressure and the stress is like. But on the other side of it, that typically it's somebody getting hurt, not a situation of a birth, right? So this is a great scenario, and it allows for a young guy like Ryan that has paid his dues in the sport to get a great opportunity.